All right, so we're moving on to session two for lesson 19, and we're just going to continue to learn how to multiply fractions. A lot of this lesson uses models, and that will help us later on when we start reviewing finding the area using some fractions. In fact, it's practically the same thing, but let's get started with a warm up. All right, it says fold and shade a fraction bar to show half of half. Well, I can't really do that at the moment, but I do have this set up. And let's pretend this is a number line here. And we have 1 and we have a 0. And this mark would be half. So if we want to do half of, which is multiplication of a half, that should equal 1 times 1, and then 2 times 2. And that gives us 1/4. And that makes sense because here is our half. And if we have half of that, it would be this, which we know is 1/4. So just makes sense, just showing us a visual and a good preview of what we've got to do next. So open up to page 395. And we've got a couple examples, another shorter lesson. A lot of these are pretty short. All right, so it says mark and shade the number line to show 2/5 of 1/2. So the first thing we have to do on this is using this number line, we've got 0 to 1. We've got to break up each of these sections here into fifths. So do 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. And in breaking up each half into fifths, we've actually created tenths. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each section is worth 1/10. So let's give them what they're asking for here. They want us to show 2/5 of 1/2. So here is our half, and it wants us to show 2/5. So that would be this one and that one. That's 2/5. And we can see that as what fraction of the whole did you shade? Well, we've actually did 2/10. We did 1/10 plus 1/10. And we can show that with multiplication. We can show 2/5 of 1/2 is 2 times 1 over 5 times 2. And that gives us the 2/10. Again, the model here is just to give us a visual of where we got those numbers from. Let's look at number 2. All right, so mark and shade the number line to show 3/4 of 1/3. So here we've got 0 to 1/3. We've got to mark that off in fourths. So I've got 1, 2, 3 lines. So it's now 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. I've got to do the same for the other ones. And we're doing that to show the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So each one of these sections is worth a 12th. Because we've broken up our one whole, our 0 to 1, into 12 sections. So each section is a 12th. So it wants to know 3/4 of 1/3, or 3/4. So 3 out of 4. 2, 3. And if each one of those is 1/12, I know it's going to be 1/12 plus 1/12 plus 1/12. That gives us 3/12. Or we can do 3/4 of, or multiply 1/3. That is 3 times 1, and then 4 times 3. And that gives us that 3/12. So again, a couple different ways to show that. Let's do a couple more. This is a little different. It shows us our model over here on the right. So explain why the purple rectangle I'll highlight that one in red right here. Explain why the purple rectangle where the shading overlaps represents 1/2 of 1/3. Then complete the product. Well, the purple rectangle that shows 1/3, which is this, of 1/2, which is this. And we know it's 1 times 1 up top and 3 times 2 on the bottom. And that gives us 1/6. And you should notice that if you look at this, how many squares or each rectangle is 1/6. So that makes sense that only one of the rectangles overlap to create that purple one. So it's 1/6. Let's try another one. And these two problems are very similar to what we're doing in IXL today. Shade the area model to show 2/5 of 2/3. So the vertical columns here are our thirds. So we have 2/3. So I'm just going to do 2/3, and then we've got 2/5. That's going to be this over here on the left. That's 2/5. So if I've got those, and then I've got these, they overlap with these 4 rectangles right here. And we have, so each, so we can write this over on the down here, each rectangle is 1 out of the 15. And we've got 4 of those. So we can guess that we've got 4/15, but let's check it mathematically. 2 times 2 over 5 times 3. And that equals 4/15. So that checks out. Skipping 5, it's a decent question, but I just want to get right to it with number 6. Choose any model you like to show 1/3 and 3/4. So let's draw a model over here on the right. So we've got thirds and fourths here. So here are my thirds, 1, 2, 3, and let's do these in the fourths, just like that. I've got each rectangle is, since there are 12, is 1/12. Let's keep that in mind. So we've got our 3/4 up here. That's 3/4. We've got my 1/3 over here. And it looks like we've got some overlap on these right here. So 3 of those. So I'm guessing it's going to be 3/12. Let's check it. This is 1 times 3 over 3 times 4. And that's 3/12. So that does check out. All right, pretty straightforward, pretty simple. For your homework today, it's going to be M17. So you're going to skip from 1 all the way to 17. There's a lot of lessons in the M section of IXL. That's why we might skip around a bit. But it's multiply 2 unit fractions using models, and it's really exactly like what we did on page 396. So reference that if you're having any trouble with the IXL today.